What do we have to do to fix this car? Well, let's find out. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe. If you missed one of my latest videos, I talked about my Lexus IS250 that's standing in front of me right now and all the things that are wrong with it, and a lot of people were very helpful on some of the things that I did not know. And today we're just gonna go see and go through some simple solutions to see what we can do to fix this car. So one of the first things that was wrong with the car that I kind of mentioned was a lot of the electronics weren't working. Memory seats aren't working, and a couple other things were a little weird. So we have the memory seats on the driver's side, and we also have memory seats on the passenger side over here. A couple of people said check the fuses, and yeah, that's probably the first thing that I probably should do. I checked them when I bought the car and everything seemed to be good, but apparently there's quite a few places where there's fuses, so let's go ahead and kind of check them all and see what we can do. So the first fuse box is actually under the driver's side right here, from what I was told. So what I'm gonna do is get under there and see what we have. So underneath the driver's side, you have a little bit of a cover. Some people might be missing this cover, but this is everything that's on it. It gives you kind of what all the fuses are for. What I'm looking at right now is this fuse right here. That's for the seats. I'm not sure if this is just for the power seats or whether it is potentially for the memory seats as well. We can figure it out, and I'm kind of gonna look through this as well and see what we have. You can use a plier to kind of take the fuses out. I believe there should be a fuse removal tool, like a little clipper in the car somewhere. So if I can find that, that's what I'm gonna be using. So it does not seem to be in this fuse box right here. We can check this one right here. Again, this car might be missing it as well. And from what I'm seeing, this car doesn't have it. It might be in a different location, but what we're gonna do is steal it from the BMW. All right, let's kind of just reach in here, because I know for a fact that this car still has its tool in here from the last time I looked in here. Just like that. You have the little tool here to plug some fuses. I'm gonna leave this open so I remember to put this back into the car. Also, can we just admire how big the hood on the BMW is? Like, look at the size of that. It's bigger than like the entirety of the car. I'm gonna get under the driver's seat and check some of the fuses, and I'll let you guys know what I find. All right, so this fuse looks like it's good. I'm gonna go continue looking under and reading the diagrams underneath the hood and see if I can find another one that's related to the seats, making sure I push all the ones down here in all the way. Maybe one got a little loose. Fuses do expire, fuses do corrode. There doesn't look like there's any, maybe a little bit of corrosion on this one right there, but I think this one should still work. I guess let's see if there's any other one that might be missing, or one that just is blown, or a little bit of corrosion that happened on it. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. All right, so this is the panel for this box. If I decided to read this at all, the fuse puller is actually right here. So there it is. The car does have one. I was just blind, but it doesn't look like any of these are seat related, right? There's the spares, there's some of the AC unit, the de-icer, the front controls like the washers and stuff, some other breakers and relays and stuff. It doesn't look like any of this is related to the memory seats of any kind. And we checked the last one. It's just kind of the same thing. The main fan, heater. It looks like all the fuses are good. There's one under the passenger seat that I'm also gonna check. All right, for some reason, it looks like all the fuses are fine. If anyone knows what could be causing my issue for my seats, let me know. I guess the only thing I have left to do is open it up and kind of see what the wires are doing and what might be broken or something. So we're gonna move on from the wiring. Way over my head at this point. I don't know what's happening to it. The next thing I want to check out is the heat. So there's a couple simple solutions to what could be the issue. So number one, it could be coolant level. We'll get back to that in a second. Number two could be the cabin air filter. We'll get to that in a second. Number three, it could be the temperature gauge. I don't think it's the thermometer, because the car warms up just fine. It doesn't read that the car stays cold for a long time. It does take a while to get to operating temperature, which might be a sign that it's starting to go out. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll replace that after, and if these things don't work. Let's pop the hood and let's talk a little bit about this coolant though. So one cause of your air not blowing warm could be your coolant. One of the things is your coolant level could simply just be too low, and you know, you have to have a mixture, a little bit of coolant and a little bit of antifreeze. So the coolant level could just be low. We're gonna check that in just a second. The second thing about the coolant, so when coolant starts to go bad, a little bit of sediments like to come, and when the sediments come, it likes to go back into the heater core. So when the coolant ended up going into the heater core, I guess it could have started getting blocked off. So sometimes it kicks on cold air because the coolant isn't flowing properly. I did a little bit of research, and that's kind of one of the things I was told. I'm not gonna pop the coolant cap just yet because the car is still warm, but one thing I'm going to do, regardless of the fact that my heat starts working, is flush the coolant. I think it's about time. 13 years old. I just want to get some new fluids in this car, new oil, new coolant, new transmission oil. So we'll just have the car, everything, you know, running properly. I'll check the coolant level. Maybe that's causing it. If it is causing it, we're going to do the coolant flush here soon enough when it gets a little bit warmer. So that could be another reason why my air conditioning is blowing while the car should be making hot air. The second thing is the cabin air filter. So apparently in the car, when the cabin air filter could be slightly off, put the wrong way, it could start blowing cold air. That's another thing I saw specifically to the Lexus IS250. Start the car up, and then I'll show you kind of what to look for. We're gonna replace the cabin air filter in the next couple days here. I don't have one right now, but I want to see if it's installed properly or maybe something's wrong. So let's check that. All right, so this might be a little tricky to see, but take everything out of the little glove box you have here, and you should be able to access the cabin air filter. You can take this little shelf out. So you can take this little shelf out just by pulling on it. You might have to get a little bit of leverage, and then you should have access to the cabin air filter box right here. So the cabin air filter resides right in here. The cover that I just pulled out, the shelf sits here, kind of bolts in right here and here, or just clips in, I guess. And then there's a secondary one that kind of you just lift. So there's a little bit of blockage here. Simply come here and click this button right here, and it'll lift that, and then you can take your cabin air filter out. Alright, so the cabin air filter is out. So this filter is pretty dirty. You end up taking this little cloth piece out. Actually, this is reusable. Don't throw that away. And it looks like it was installed the proper way. As you can see, there's a little up arrow, and it's a little dirty, it's a little crusty. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It looks like it has been replaced at one point, or I hope it has, because the car is pretty old. But it looks like this was installed the proper way, and I am going to replace it. It's not worth bringing up in a video other than trying to diagnose some of the issues that potentially could be causing it. Make sure it was there. I never taken a look at it, but it looks like everything is good to go. So that is still not my cause to the issue. Heating issue, not from the cabin air filter. I thought maybe there wasn't a filter there. I was told that that could end up causing some issue. That's not the issue in my case. So what we're gonna do is fix something else. I guess there's nothing really I can do with the electronics, with the heat at this point. So we'll figure those things later. Also, this door handle doesn't work from the inside. All right, so the cause of my door latch, right? My door latch isn't working, and yes, the child lock is on, but the problem isn't that it's on, right? The problem is that it's stuck. I'm not sure how to get it unstuck without completely removing the door panel, so I'm not gonna bother with that today. We are going to re-glue the little trim piece today though, and fix that, and that's probably the only thing that's gonna be fixed, unfortunately. In the future, I'll keep you guys updated. Whenever I give you guys a little bit of a Lexus update, I'll tell you guys what I did, a little bit of maintenance, because each of these items don't deserve their own video. Unless I'm making a huge update video, you probably won't see a whole video designated to a coolant flush or anything. So we've got the glue. I'm just gonna glue this down. We're gonna call it there, I guess. I want to fix this car a little bit more. In the future videos we will. We'll go through it a little bit more and kind of keep fixing it up and restoring it, and making it run 110%, because that is the goal. I want this car to be 100% functional. I'm going to continue playing with this, but some updates on my other cars. Let's give you guys a little bit of that before we end the video off. So I gave you guys a little bit of an update video on the last video on the Mustang. If you guys don't know what happened to the Mustang, I have some transmission issues to come up with the car. It's in the shop right now. It's been like that for a while. I'm expecting the car to be here in a week or so. If it's lucky that it gets the parts in, most likely that's not going to happen. It's going to take a little bit longer, unfortunately. The BMW is here, the Lexus is there, the Bronco still no updates. Hopefully next week, this next week here, today is Sunday, maybe we'll get some type of update on the car and maybe some options we can take off of it. But that's where we're at right now. We're kind of just waiting on things to come back. I'm waiting for the days to get warmer so we can work on this car a little bit. Even right now, I'm not even sure this adhesive is gonna stick to this car because it's so cold, windy, it's miserable. So hopefully there's some nicer days that are gonna come in the future. That's all I have for this video. If you guys are new and if you have not subscribed, subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next video.